This morning, folks, I saw a headline on Bloomberg that spoke to America's quote-unquote nagging problem, inflation. You know, and I don't understand economists that think things are so great, and they even, when they are reminded that, hey, maybe they're not so great, then it's only a nagging problem. Joining me now, heritage economist Peter St. Onge. And Peter, you know, why is Main Street so upset if it's only a nagging problem?
Absolutely. And, you know, that's really been the theme of this entire inflation, is that we constantly get lectured by these experts about, you know, it's not really a problem. It's just in this one area. They invent new metrics that, you know, they can roll out. OK, this is excluding, you know, 5, 6 things. And Paul Krugman famously did that. So they keep telling us that inflation's not a problem, but you go out there and survey people and it remains a massive problem. The NFIB just came out with their monthly survey of small business, and inflation is still the biggest problem for small businesses. And of course, what happened is the specific pandemic stuff went away, right? You remember when supply chains were snarled, you couldn't get a washing machine. That went away. Of course, you know, the lockdowns opened back up. So that took some of the edge off inflation. But at that point, as Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming without a suit. Well, the tide went out, and we're stuck here with 4.5%, 5% inflation. That's starting to look pretty durable.
And to that point, you brought up the NFIB. And in their survey, they're looking to raise prices. And historically, when the NFIB raises prices, they're the first ones, but everyone else kind of follows. And the CPI might be going higher, not lower from here.
That's what has been so crazy about the Fed talk this year, is that there's all these debates. There's going to be 7 cuts. There's going to be 2 cuts. And we're looking at inflation has been straight line up since October. So last October, we were 0.9% annualized. Every month, it's been marching up. So at this point, we're at, 4.6% annualized. That is not a time to be talking about rate cuts, and yet here we are.
So what and this is again. So we had a showdown not long ago in the Senate. Powell was there, and you had the senator from Alabama, Shelby, and they went at it. I mean, this was really good stuff, right? And essentially, Shelby, who says, I don't have confidence in you, you know. And so Powell said, Paul Volcker is a hero of mine. I'm going to be Paul Volcker. And of course, it ended with Shelby saying, well, I know Paul Volcker and you know Paul Volcker. All of a sudden, he's trying to be Alan Greenspan. He's not trying to be Volcker anymore. Seems like he's trying to assuage the investing class and not regular Americans who are still dealing with inflation.
The investor class, or less charitably, other interests in Washington. You know, James O'Keefe just came out with this investigative hidden camera interview with a Fed economist, and it looks like they've got a finger on the scale. So, you know, this is really, I think the Fed's credibility is on the line right now, both their credibility in terms of fighting inflation and their credibility in terms of being genuinely politically neutral.
All right, I got quickly before I let you go. Speaking of the federal government, CBO coming out the first quarter deficit. So a month ago they said, for the whole year we'd be at 1.5 trillion. The current run rate is about 4 trillion. I mean, it's getting to a point where it's so absurd. You're like a trillion here, a trillion there. Who cares?
It really is. And, you know, I think what's most distressing to people is that there is no help on the way. I mean, it is a uniparty, bipartisan operation. They fight over who gets to spend more money. And at some point, really, the bond vigilantes are the only hope.
All right. Hopefully there's somewhere getting ready to come to the rescue. Peter, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Charles.
All right. All right, folks.